We are nearing the end and we're saving the best for last. And I'm told that I need to put the microphone up really high because the next guy who's coming up here is really tall. For those of you from Indiana, you know that is our governor. Eric Holcomb is the 51st governor of the state of Indiana. He's a veteran. He's a basketball fanatic. Has made a basket in all 92 counties of the state of Indiana, and I actually got to see him make a couple. You should have made more, man. Made a couple on a trade mission in Japan. So he's now beginning a global sort of phenomenon of shooting baskets with our Indiana international trade partners, which I think is great. There's a couple other things that I just want to really quickly say about him that are not in the bio, which I will point out to you is pretty short. He's a pretty humble guy who's accomplished a lot. And we had the great, for me at least, pleasure of working together actually as staffers. He was a very trusted advisor to then Governor Mitch Daniels, and I was in our first Indiana State Department of Agriculture. And I really got to see firsthand his way of working with people, his way of working through ideas, and he really tackles them. So he absorbs, he pursues, he brainstorms, he creates the ideas. And I would tell you that in today's larger world of politics, you probably don't find a lot of other governors and a lot of other political leaders who have that kind of philosophy, that kind of work ethic, and bring that background to their role as an executive of a state like ours. And I think it just is personified in what is the next level platform that he has announced. And the only other thing I would say to you, that is not a campaign slogan. That is the real deal. And this governor is going to make sure that by supporting organizations like ours and a whole lot of other important things here in Indiana, he will work to take Indiana to that next level. So please join me in welcoming Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb.
That could have gone in so many different directions. Oh, that could have gone in so many different directions. I heard, and I think ZZ Top was before that. This is straight back to the 80s. Well, it's good to be with you. That last panel was just fantastic and both inspirational and very instructive. There were a lot of common themes, similarities that I could relate to, especially the herd mentality. You know, after you win an election, everybody voted for you, and they all want to know what they can do to help. And so I certainly experienced that rush in more ways than one. But Beth, thank you for not just that introduction and the invitation to be in this lineup. I've got to get a transcript of what's all transpired today because again, that last panel it just proves that there aren't truly very many secrets left to a successful enterprise. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of common sense. There's no shortcuts, no cheating and cutting in line if you want an enterprise to be of one of real duration and true strength. And so being here today is very much appreciated, Beth, and thanks for including me. You'll have to bat cleanup, but it is true. Very early on, I've understood the importance, not just going back to, as you alluded to, those Daniels days, but I see Melissa Prophet-Reese has rejoined us as well. And I think on one of the first meetings that I took was when you summoned me to your office just to explain to me how important Agbiosciences is to the state of Indiana. And I'll never forget you both were there and got me obviously pointed in the right direction. And that trade delegation was eye-opening. What I took away, what maybe you did as well, was just the fact that going to Japan, we already had so many relationships, deep, strong relationships developed, and we were seeking to develop more. And there was a real hunger, no pun intended, but a real hunger to continue to build further relationships, and for two countries like America and Japan to have really pioneered on this innovation front over the decade after decade after decade. It was a match made in heaven to have Indiana and our partners and teammates really in Japan, in Nagoya, in Tokyo, sitting around a table and doing what we just heard on that panel, brainstorming about where we could go in the future and where we are going, like it or not. Some folks kind of remain in denial, but the future obviously is here right now. And so that was a truly inspiring trip for me. And so often we get centered on one sector or another, but what Agbiosciences has really shown me is it's all sectors coming together, and as we enter into these new economies, going from that hunting to the ag to the industrial to the knowledge to this age of integration, there could be no more exciting time, at least in my estimation, to be a Hoosier, to be in Indiana, to be leading this charge, to have organizations like AgriNovus really pushing, being that tip of the spear, and having so many people form up right behind you, providing that wind. And I just want you to know the state of Indiana will continue to be obviously a full teammate, and we understand our role. And yes, it is true, as you mentioned, we are somewhat. We have that Hoosier hospitality tagline, and we've demonstrated that time and time again, and we're a bit humble. We carry a sense of humility with us almost everywhere we go, which is refreshing also in today's world. But there's a time and a place for that, and there's a time to put aside your humble ways. And as Beth and I have been talking about, we have got to, and the question that was brought up speaks right to this. We have got to do even more to share Indiana's success story. And so I'm finished being modest, quite frankly, these days. And as we get to Tokyo, or we get to Budapest, or the UK, or Paris, or New Delhi most recently, we are relentlessly sharing the fact that Indiana is rocking and rolling. And a lot of it can be traced right back to where this industry is and how the separate industries are coming together. And again, that integration that is occurring. And so you all are in large part, the folks that are in this room, and I already looked around and spotted some folks who have been real trailblazers on this front. And so I'm here to just express my profuse thanks for staying at it, for fulfilling in the ranks and carrying on this effort. We have come a long way, but we did not come this far just to come this far, obviously. And it's such, as I said, such an exciting time to be a Hoosier, such a transformational time to be living. And when you're in a state like Indiana, this state that's in such great shape, and absolutely we have our challenges and those are opportunities, but when you think about how different we are, how far we've come in the last 10, 12 years, and where we're going, where we're able to go in the next 10 or 12 years because of that hard work. You think about being in a state that it has a AAA credit rating, and you're in large part responsible for that, and having almost $2 billion in reserves. And another thing that's very uncommon is we came out of our last budget session, our long session, got done with our work a week early. Where else in the country is that happening, or really in the world? We are living in somewhat ungrounded times, and in the state of Indiana, we seem to have kept our balance about us, and that is a real asset to be selling when we're selling our story. We came out of this same budget session, supposed to be the most difficult of them all. We came out of it with a long-term, paid-for, sustainable infrastructure program. This is, again, something other states are in this uber-competitive global market that we find ourselves in, something our competitors aren't able to lay claim to, and it becomes a real selling point when we turn our cards all face up at the table to say, if you want to do it, if you want to do more of it, come and grow your roots in Hoosier soil. And when you think about how attractive and how low the cost of doing businesses in the state of Indiana, the cost of living. You may have just seen Forbes came out with their latest rankings just yesterday, and Forbes has moved the state of Indiana in terms of our regulatory environment from number 4 to number 1 in the nation, and that's just yesterday. They moved us all the way up to number 4 in terms of our quality of life, and that's kind of the bottom line about why we are doing this, all of us, as public servants, is how are we going to assist in improving the quality of lives? And it just speaks to exactly what you all bring to bear on this front. And so when you have that foundation or that platform to launch from, and then you throw on top of that, but wait, there's more. We've got this incredible world-class network of colleges and universities, both public and private. I saw the Boilermaker in the back of the room here, boiler up, hammer down. They're going bowling. That's great news, but that's also attracting not just a lot of attention, it's attracting a ton of investment and yielding a ton of discoveries that are happening, again, right here inside of our state borders. So we're incredibly thankful for those international magnets, quite frankly, that are scattered and dotted all across the state of Indiana. And as your governor, I could go on and on. Obviously, I never tire of spinning that record or rattling off those statistics. But I will just say, and I hope you sense, I hope you feel, you are part of it, that Indiana is rocking and rolling. And again, it's in large part because of the faces and the people and the commitment that I see in this room. And what I want to ensure that Beth alluded to as well is that we don't rest for 1 nanosecond. We can't obviously afford it. The pace of change is happening so fast. I want us to continue to tap into this synergy and this energy in this room and in other industries around the state of Indiana, and make sure that we are the change agents, that we're leading the change. We're not just reacting to it, but we are in fact leading that. And again, the ag bioscience sector is helping us do just that. So thank you again. Being focused on innovation and on integration and talent development and encouraging entrepreneurship and having assemblies just like the one that you're part of today, cultivating this at-large Hoosier garden. So again, it is the absolute best place for businesses to grow, as something that is the most, at least to be a part of it, is the most fulfilling thing that I've ever done in life. And as you mentioned, I had the honor of wearing the United States Navy uniform. So this is extremely gratifying work to be associated with you and just across the line. When I think about the state of Indiana and I think about the 6,000 farmers that we have, small and large farms, we're still a state that's 83% farmer forest. And the innovation that is coming right off the small family farm or the large operation that is impacting and transforming lives, improving that quality of life for the better, is staggering in my mind. And it's an extreme source of pride for me to know that we're such a leader in terms of our poultry and our pork and our popcorn, and again, that list goes on and on and on. Melon production, and when I get around the state of Indiana, I heard the gentleman from Posey County who went out to Silicon Valley. Posey County's got New Harmony. That's the original utopian experiment. I mean, you didn't need to go out to the Sunshine State to find a little sense of utopia. You were born and raised right next to it. But our farmers, whether it's in Posey County or any of the other 91 counties, to be blunt, we have been obviously leading the way, and we just have so much to be proud of, not just of our heritage, but for, again, that pioneering spirit that continues to say, yeah, Purdue put the first man on the moon and the last man on the moon, and we've done a lot in between, and we've got a lot further to go, and we've got the courage and the will and the brain power and the commitment to do just that. So a lot of people are counting on us, which is the good news, because in Indiana we continue to grow and we continue to deliver, and folks have come to set high expectations, which is, again, fueling when it comes right down to it. And when you stop and think about ag, specifically ag, and how it's been ag plus tech, and all the sectors that have come together, whether it's the life sciences and ag, or advanced manufacturing and ag. We were on another trade mission. We were in Budapest, and we were having a discussion about just how far we've come, and I was marveling or thinking about 3D printing and all the advantages that brings around the world, and how that would affect people's lives. And someone said, "Eric, come on, man, we're going to be printing food soon." And wrap your brain around that for a while. When you stop and think about the power of technology coupled with ag, and when you're downright just blunt about it, food is truly one of the few necessities in life, and has a direct correlation to the quality of your life. So as we get this right, as we continue to innovate and pioneer way out into the future, when we're introducing satellites and drone and computer modeling and mapping, and all all those factors, and how they're leading this next integration revolution, I derive a lot of confidence from it. And seeing these blue jackets, the blue and gold here up front, and I saw some in back. I had the honor of welcoming the FFA members back for their national convention back here to Indianapolis some weeks ago. And again, that's another source of not just pride, but confidence that we're going to be okay well into the future with the folks that are enrolled in the FFA programs across the country. And what an exciting time, again, to not just to have had the good fortune of your parents, but for picking and pursuing potential work in the ag sector, and specifically, hopefully, in the Agbiosciences sector. You're finding, I hope, that as the world gets smaller and smaller, and yet the population gets larger and larger, 9 billion by 2050. We talked about that challenge again in New Delhi. I had a conversation with one of the Minister of External Affairs, Foreign Affairs, and we talked about his 1.3 billion citizens in this 1/7 of the world's population, nestled in a landmass about 1/3 of the size of America. Think about that. I said, now I know you, and we were talking about workforce and skilling up, and I said, I know we're 6.6 million Hoosiers and 1.3 billion citizens in India. And he said, Eric, 1.3 billion, that was yesterday. They are growing, and they're trying to figure out they're trying to solve the exact same problems that you're way out in front on. And so when we start to form these partnerships, what comes out of that, that's going to be a win for people. It's going to be a win for the state of Indiana, and those are those win-win relationships that we're constantly waking up every single day, and we're trying to grow more and more of those opportunities. And that's what's so, again, I sound like a broken record, but that's what's so gratifying about being well conducted and associated with folks that are in this room, is that you're doing it, and you've been doing it. And we want to make sure that we continue to be, as the panel before said, it's assembling that right team. And what I have found is A's hire A's and B's hire C's, and there's so much talent in this room, and it's getting the right people in those right positions. Talked about the brake and the pedal. It's getting the right people in the right positions, and then getting out of the way a lot of the times and saying, let's go mow this down. And when we're talking about quality of life, there's simply nothing more important than that. So I just, as we wind down today, I again want to make sure that I get a transcript. I hope there's a way that that I can see what else was discussed earlier today, and if you'll allow me, I'll get back to my day job and I'll start selling the state of Indiana, whether it's in London or Tokyo or New Delhi or New Harmony or Silicon Valley or Austin or New York, and these are all places that we've been to this year. So we'll continue to share your success story. Thank you so much.
No, we're not playing basketball. We have no net, but I do have a gift for you. And I know that, there's lots of days you still have the boots on, but there's some days that you can be a little more casual. I don't think today was one of them. I mean, you've got the whole suit on. So I knew you couldn't wear.
I did notice there aren't a lot of ties. So if all the ties could form out in the corner of the room.
Okay. So this is a first of its kind. And I tell you, every person in here is going to want one of these after they see you hold it up. I'm not going to make you put it on because that would be awkward, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But this is you. This is all you. You are the inspiration for this. And again, we are going to get these in the hands every person we possibly can. So I want you to kind of take a look, and then you hold it up.
Nice.
Can everybody see that? Okay. Now flip it. Right? It's happening here. So we are going to make sure that a lot of you here in the room have the opportunity to get one of these in your hands. The students who are in the room, we had 50 plus students from high schools, from colleges across the state who were here, and we will make sure that you and your team get a few extra. But I know, it's a medium. It can go to the first lady.
I eat my way across the state of Indiana. I'm trying to do my part on the supply side of this economic equation. But yes, I will give this to my wife.
Yeah, then you can wear them together.
As I mow the lawn, yes.
And
okay.
take a picture and send that to us. So done being modest. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close us out here with a few final remarks. I do wish I had T-shirts for every person in the room because I think that would be a real sight based on what we heard today. But I just want to take a few final minutes because I know, again, as we always say at the end of a day like today, I'm the last thing between you and a cocktail and spending some time together. But first of all, I just want to thank all of you for supporting AgriNovus and give you a real high-level recap and an update on some of the really exciting things that we are working on. I have a couple of slides that I want to make sure get pulled up. First of all, we are really excited that we have a couple of new board members and new investors in AgriNovus, and I wanted to make sure that they got a shout out today. There are actually 3 individuals, 2 of whom I know are here today. Kes Berg with Advanced Agrilytics, Gil Farley with Biodyne Midwest, and Randy Crone with Indiana Farm Bureau. If Randy and Kes are here, could you guys stand by chance? It's hard for me to see. Okay. Let me tell you just real quick about these 3 organizations and why I get excited about them kind of coming into the AgriNovus organization. Advanced Agrilytics is a really exciting early stage company. It's currently headquartered in Huntington, so up in the northeastern part of the state. But they're working on really groundbreaking spatial and agronomic analytics and decision-making tools for farmers. Biodyne Midwest, headquartered in Fort Wayne, so we got a little northeastern Indiana cluster happening here, focuses on biologics and other environmental remediation services in the ag and food industry. And who doesn't know Indiana Farm Bureau? We are thrilled to have Indiana's largest farmer member organization also recognize the importance of being invested and engaged in this ag innovation space. So we are excited to welcome Kes, Gil, and Randy all to our board of directors. The next thing I wanted to share is that we also, I'm not hitting the right button, so I'll just have you guys hit that for me. We also are really, really excited for a recent game-changing announcement that we worked really hard to achieve and to develop with the Lilly Endowment here in Indianapolis. But earlier this month, we announced that AgriNovus has received a gift from a grant, not just a gift. We have to really work for it, and we intend to, but a $4.2 million grant from the Lilly Endowment. And we're really focused on 3 key areas and strategies that we are going to make sure that we do our best to utilize these funds. The first is very strategically developing targeted public education and awareness initiatives, all to tell the story of the Agbiosciences. And so just think of a little taste of what you got here today. Now we plan to take that on the road, and we plan to put that in really exciting venues with bigger messages and bigger storytelling that really gets an understanding of the Agbiosciences out there to a much larger audience. And we also will be supporting talent and workforce development efforts to create that pipeline that has been talked about today of young professionals trained for and excited by ag bioscience careers. And finally, we'll be working on identifying best practices in entrepreneurial growth and investment so that we can better leverage our ag technology, ag innovation, early stage company resources, and really help them have the kind of support that they need. So game changing, and we are thrilled and very humbled by the confidence that an organization like the Lilly Endowment has put into our organization to really well use these funds. The same time that we announced that, we also had another big announcement with the Forbes organization. Just a few weeks ago, a group of us representing the Indiana ag biosciences industry actually traveled to New York. And we joined Forbes in announcing that AgriNovus Indiana and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation are going to, along with the Forbes organization, host the first Forbes Ag Tech Summit Indianapolis in September of 2018. We had a great time in New York, and I've got a couple of pictures from the event, but while I maybe run through those, I would like to ask Paul Noglos from Forbes to join me up here and spend just a minute describing why Indiana and why Indianapolis, because I think I could tell that story, but I actually think it means a little bit more when it comes from you. So,
thanks, Beth. I'm Paul Noglos. I'm the head of development for Forbes Live, and I'm the creator of the Forbes Ag Tech Summits. I've been very fortunate to attend all 3 of the AgriNovus Innovation Summits. And I produced 5 Forbes Reinventing America Summits in the Midwest in 2014 and 2015. And I remember very well in November of 2014, I produced the Forbes Reinventing America Innovation Summit with Steve Forbes in this very room. Between the AgriNovus Summits and the Forbes Summits, I've had the privilege of getting to know and work with Hoosiers like Kip Tom, Scott Dorsey, Sonny Beck, Mitch Daniels, Johnny Park, Greg Deason, Ted McKinney, Governor, now Vice President Pence, Beth, Dan Dawes, AgriNovus, the wonderful folks at IEDC, and a host of others. And I can tell you we at Forbes are very excited and very much look forward to working with Governor Holcomb. So Forbes has known for a while that Indianapolis is an epicenter of not just Midwestern innovation, but global innovation, especially in ag tech. That's why we are so excited to be leveraging Forbes' global reach to convene the Forbes Ag Tech Summit in Indianapolis in September. It's actually September 26th and 27th of 2018. And we're going to build on the tremendous success of our annual Ag Tech Summit in Salinas, California the last 3 years. The Indianapolis Summit will complement the Salinas Summit, but it will allow us to expand beyond the world of fresh produce to include row crops like wheat, barley, soybeans, and corn. All the while staying laser focused on cutting edge agricultural innovation and delving deep into the burgeoning world of Agbiosciences, which we've heard so much about today. We will then leverage the Forbes Global Media platform to bring this story to the world. So we are going to be a big help in you not being humble anymore. We at Forbes are incredibly excited to be coming to Indianapolis in September, and you should be too, and we hope to see you all in September. Thanks, Beth.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you. We are really excited about that announcement. And again, I do hope we'll make sure you know a lot about it, obviously, but we do hope that you'll watch and learn and listen for more announcements about that exciting event. If you really think about how next year starts shaping up for us, we'll have the Forbes Summit in September. We always are host to the National FFA Convention in October, and we will be having our next AgriNovus Innovation Summit for you in November. So you already have your closing last 3 months before the holidays of 2018 essentially planned for you. So I would be remiss if I didn't also take the time to just restate a lot of thank yous. And I won't go through each and every individual or organization or speakers, but I do want to thank every person who was a part of our program. I really was sitting there this afternoon scratching my head saying, I don't know what we do next year. You all hit it out of the park. You are all tremendously on message, very provocative, very engaging, and very thoughtful in your comments, and that was extremely helpful to us, obviously. I want to thank all of our sponsors again. Again, I won't go through all of them, other than to say, especially to our presenting sponsors, Dow AgroSciences and Elanco, a huge thank you. I said it earlier, but they invested early in the concept of AgriNovus. Before it was even an AgriNovus, it was a what if could we? And so to have them really be continually engaged with us and supporting today's event alongside all of our other sponsors really means a lot. We couldn't do it without our board members. I will tell you, it's one of the most engaging boards I have ever either been a part of, seen, worked with. They come ready to work, they come with big ideas, and they challenge me and our team every single time we meet, and often, very often, in between the meetings as well. And that you couldn't ask for a better set of circumstances. And I also want to make sure that I thank the rest of the AgriNovus team. There aren't a lot of us, but I do want to make sure that I extend my thanks to them. I saw a tweet go across the bottom from @JSteele. I'm not sure if @JSteele is still in the room, but there was a great tweet that was offering a huge shout out to the entire AgriNovus team. And I just want to echo @JSteele's comments and make sure that I point out colleagues Dan Dawes, Libby Fritz, Jo Beth Zimmerman, and the rest of our family at the Central Indiana Corporate Partnership, the teammates that we have as AgriNovus with BioCrossroads, with Connexus, with TechPoint are critically important. So please join me in thanking the rest of the AgriNovus team for helping put on such a great event today. You see next year, November of 2018, actually the date stays the same. We shift a day, but November 29th. Mark your calendars for the 2018 AgriNovus Indiana Summit. We are gonna keep working between now and then to do what I challenge the team at AgriNovus every day to think about, which is how do we create a movement, how do we force collisions, and how do we grow talent? Those are the 3 areas of emphasis that consume really everything we think about and everything we do. And I hope that you found that today's program really brought those points home and helped you, I think, understand why we view that as being so critically important to what we're doing here in Indiana. Finally, presentations, I understand. I hope we have approvals from everybody who made them, but will be available actually tomorrow online on the AgriNovus website, so make sure the governor gets to see all of those and spend some time perusing all of the presentations that were available. You'll also be receiving an email from us just thanking you for coming and also a couple of quick evaluation survey kinds of questions that we'd really love for you. I promise they're easy, they're quick, you don't have to write a lot, but we could really use the feedback so we make sure that future planning and next events that we do live up to your expectations. And so our reception is, I think, out the doors, ready and waiting. We want to thank Ivy Tech Community College and Indiana Farm Bureau specifically for sponsoring the reception. So raise a glass to both of those organizations as you get out the door. If you still have your stickers, go find the map, and maybe don't do it after you've had a couple of glasses of wine. You may not know exactly where you're placing your sticker, but get the stickers on the map. That matters to us too. We're excited to see the output of all of that. Thanks to GeoSilos for putting that together for us. Thank you again for being with us today, for spending the time. Enjoy the evening, enjoy some more time networking and building some new relationships, and safe travels home. Thank you very much.